always takes about 30 seconds or something. So apologies in advance. All right, there we go. Where are we at? Text general, right there. Okay. All right. Do we have any, is that the right spot? Right? Okay, yeah. Okay. We got any, we're going to wrap up the last lecture today, the stack stuff. It's not much left, but this is a good opportunity to talk about just any remaining stuff, any other nagging things. But so what I could do, I'm wondering if I should maybe finish the slides first, and then, it really isn't going to take long. And I know I have no credibility. I get that, but I'm serious this time. You have to believe me. Uh, I'm launching my slides real quick. And I know where we are in the slides, and I'll tell you exactly how many slides remain. Um, Hang on a second. We are right here. There we go. And everything else is basically an animation of a single math problem. It's 10 slides, but it's you know what I mean? It's an animation. So each slide is like a slight difference. That's it. So I really don't think this will take long. So why don't I do this first? I'm kind of like having a cool conversation with myself now where I make big decisions with, with a bunch of internal input. Does that sound okay? And then want to talk about down the stretch, what's going on, some whatever. Answer any questions that are nagging at you, kicking your butt, whatever the butt kickage looks like. Right? Is that cool? We get to decide, you know what I mean? You guys, this is trying to be meaningful for you and meet, your needs. So that's why I throw these things open, because I don't know like what resonates best, with y'all's. But I think I'm probably leaning toward, let me do the slides. And okay, what do we got? Let me see. Sorry, I'm all right. Okay, let me go. I'm gonna do it. 5 minutes, 10 tops. I don't have a lot of stories about stack arithmetic. Okay, so when I have stories, all bets are off. Or when something taps into a philosophical rant, then of course clock management goes out the window. But you ready? Do it. So um, here's just stuff we already know how to do, right? Here's a math problem. That, by the way, of course, is multiplication. And I put the parens. You don't, with kind of order of operations and precedence, you wouldn't even have to have the parens, right, for this to know what it's going to do. But I put the parens to be explicit. A plus B is one thing, C plus D is another thing. When you've got those two things, you're going to multiply them together, right? So we already know, like, kind of how to do that. Now, I'm conceptualizing uh, an instruction that doesn't exist in the LC3, and that's the mul operator. Okay, well, this is a certainly most, maybe all uh, assembly languages and instruction set architectures in real processors have a multiply instruction, have a divide instruction. you know, and even other math instructions, you know, like mod and certain things like that, right? It all depends on how many bits you can burn on opcodes, right? It's in terms of how many instructions and how complex you want the system to be. So in this example, we've got just values dropped in for A, B, C, and D and E. Just, boink, boink, boink. And so these are the values. And you know how we do this, right? We load A into R0, B goes into R1, add those two together, put the result into R0 for now. Why? Because we just decided. Throw C into R2, D into R3, add R2 and R3 together, put that in R2. Now our two values are in R0 and R2, so we multiply those guys together, put the result in R0, and then stick R0 into the location that we blocked out for E. Okay? Remember again that block W just leaves a blank spot. When you give that to the assembler, it doesn't do anything. It defaults to whatever's in memory at that location, or it might even default to zeroing it out. But it just basically just allocates the space, puts the label in the symbol table if there is a label, and then it just moves on, skips over. And the dot fill just puts that literal value into that spot in memory. Right? So when you assemble this, by the way, right, you put this through the assembler. Over here in this location would be whatever the bit pattern is for decimal 25. That's what the assembler will put there. And that's another thing. Can we bookmark that? Some of you are struggling with how do I do the assembly language for the dot fill? Okay, answer, you don't. Literally, when the assembler sees dot fill, decimal 25, it just goes, oh, decimal 25 is hex 19, and it'll just put right there in memory 0019. Boink, done. That's all it does, okay? It doesn't put instructions to create that. It puts the actual number right there in memory. That's all. You could literally write your entire program using dot fills, right? You could, where every dot fill was like, the instruction, the 16 bits of the instruction. And it would just take that number, put it there, and it would be that assembly instruction. Okay. That's what we already know how to do with multiplication. But what if we had a stack-based language, right? And there are programming languages that are stack-based. The classic ancient one was called Forth, which I believe was spelled Forth, not Fourth, like go forth, as opposed to, may the fourth be with you. And so the idea is, here's our stack. We already talked about stacks, right? Here's our stack. There's the stack pointer right there. And these are the instructions that we're going to do. But this is in a world in which there are push and pop operations in the assembly language. And again, most assembly languages, in other words, most instruction set architectures, have push and pop operations where there has to be a stack pointer somewhere that it's using. Okay. You ready? Here we go. So when we say push 25, 25 goes on the stack. And for now, these are just decimal numbers, okay? And it's conceptual at this point. But that's what we do. We push 25, we push 17. Now, when we do the add instruction, push 25, it's a unary operator, right? It only has one operand. Add is a binary operator. It needs two operands. So when you do the add, it pops the top off, then it pops the next one, adds them together, and pushes the result back on the stack. Okay? Voila. That's a little bit. Let me do it again really fast. Ready? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah, you might note that is 25 plus 17 in decimal. So now that's what's on the stack. So now I got the 3 times 2. I push the 3. I push the 2. When I do the add, I'm going to pop the 2, pop the 3, add them together, put the result back on, which goes whoosh, 5. Now 5 and 42 are just sitting there. And now I get to multiply or mul, doesn't matter because this is conceptual. And multiply is going to, again, it's a binary operator. It needs 2 operands. It's going to pop the first one, pop the second one, and then it's going to multiply them together, take the results, and push the result back on the stack. Boom. And if you're doing that at home, 5 times 42, right? 5 times 40 is 200. 5 times 2 is 10, 210. And then finally, we need to put this value into E. And then in this imaginary language, the way this works is you can say pop and then like a destination, like where do you want it to go? Pop, and then you just say E. It's like pop the value that's at the top of the stack and put it in location E. That right? Does that make sense? And then you just go boom, pop E, and now the stack is back to empty. E has the right value. Did I make it to 5? Was it 5 minutes or less? Dang close. If not, it was dang close. And I even stopped to talk about the programming language fourth. Oh, and
It
a lot
was
of
at least under 10 minutes.
it was at least under 10. Thank you for that validation. The other thing, a lot of you, I don't know, well, maybe not a lot of you. You're from a generation that probably didn't have, scientific calculators. Maybe did you? Like when you were in high school, were you still using like scientific calculators, or did everybody just turn the calculator on your phone sideways and get that?
I was using scientific calculators. I
Okay.
didn't even like have an iPhone in high school. I had a Samsung, and only AT&T had iPhones at the time.
Uh, okay. So many of you had scientific calculators, right? Well, some of them, especially the HPs, um, they had man, what did they call it? They called it like reverse Polish notation or something. And I don't even know like the origins of that phraseology. It anyway, but it was basically stack based. The sort of the syntax on the older anyway HP calculators was basically stack based. So if you ever had, did any of you have that like HP calculator where you had to like put a number, enter a number, enter another number, and then when you did like a multiply, it would take the last 2 numbers you entered, and then the result would be sitting there. Did any of you have that? Because I don't know what HP calculators have done in the last, 10, I don't even know, 15, whatever
I had a
years.
Casio, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, because the alternative was you had to like, some number times some number, equals, and then you'd have to like put that in memory somewhere. But if you only had one memory location, it got kind of clunky. But the HP, if you did the HP, um, yeah, okay, I had a TI-84 as well. But if if you're doing the HP thing, um, anyway, then you knew. I don't think it sounds like most of you didn't actually do the reverse Polish notation on an HP calculator. I'm trying to find some point of context, to have some of this make some sense. Anyway, that's it. I promised you, did I not previously that the stack lecture was well under. So it's a module, but it's crazy tiny module. And because of the way I do the grading, it counts this, right? I already said I'm going to do the aggregate where the first few modules count way more because they're just beefier. And then this one would count less, but also doing it where all 12 modules count the same, right? Um, and in that case, these last couple smaller modules become kind of worth quite a bit. Maybe that's like a bonus for finishing, for finishing strong. Let me say one thing by way of there's been some questions about like deadlines and stuff like that. Um, so one of the things I'm going to do, remember there's kind of a break at homework 9. Homework 9 was like, drop some information. Let me get rid of this. Homework 9 was like, drop some information about your processing and notes concerning the larger program, right? Prior to that, module 8 and earlier, there's been a lot of time, left over to get to those. 10, 11, 12 have kind of come a little fast and furious in the last week or two. And again, they're smaller, but they are still coming at the end. Like, for example, today. And so what I'm going to do now, I want to just say this again. I think I said this, I don't know if I said this to a different class, but I want to just say this so you understand. There is a university policy that that they can't be, projects and homework and things like that due after the last day of classes for the university. That's tomorrow, right? That's why we set everything to be deadline of April 28th. Official. But we don't have a comprehensive final exam, right? The way finals week works is it's your last week till it's over. We'll reset everybody, and it's your last week to take any of the module exams you want to do and retake any that you want to go bump your score if you want to take a shot at it. And you get to kind of manage that. And I don't believe that's I know that that's not really a conflict at all with the spirit of what finals week's trying to do. What they don't want to do is you've got some, I don't know, 40-hour project that's due at the end of finals week. And then somebody's like burning all their spare time trying to get this big project done, trashing all the time that's supposed to be available to take finals, to prepare for and take finals. And I happen to believe in that. I don't believe in all policies. I don't believe in the fundamental truth of everything that pops out of a bureaucracy. Let's be really clear. This may come as a shock to some of you, but I do believe in that policy. To me, it makes a ton of sense. Now, the gotcha being that in this case, it all comes so fast, and because of the way that I set up the policy on that, I'm okay if we say that homeworks 10, 11, and 12, okay? Homeworks 10, 11, and 12, you can submit the homework at any time during finals week in order to then take that exam. And we'll try to be kind of on standby, you know what I mean? Because there's that part where we have to, mark it as complete, okay? But I think that's probably fair. 8 and under, 9 and under, no. The final project, no. That to me, I mean, we've talked about it. It has come later in the game, but we've been talking about it. If you've had circumstances, kind of beyond your control, then talk to me and we can figure some stuff out if need be, right? But barring circumstance, poor planning is not a circumstance beyond your control. There are things that happen in life that are beyond your control and create dynamics that I can try to work with you on, obviously. And if you've had crap, man, some of you have lost friends and family members to COVID, and some of this COVID bullcrap year has taken a toll. And, we can talk about incompletes if that needs to happen, um, given the way the class works, if you're not worried about your interim GPA, you can just take your lumps, go focus on your other classes, and be back in the fall. And then if you let's say you made it through module 6, show up in the fall, right? When it's good to go, register for me because I don't have guarantees about, how the other sections are going to run. Register for me first week if you feel like it. Submit 6, homeworks for 1 through 6. The homework you did, I'd review it again to make sure you're fresh, right? But if it's your homework, it's not plagiarism to submit your own homework. And then take all 6 modules and then just be like starting right in on module 7, week number 2. So, you can set yourself up for a really light semester. And then the way that works here at UVU, some of you are maybe new to college or new here. is that you retake, and then that retake grade replaces the original grade. So you can, in fact, restore the GPA and get back into good graces. So Walter, yeah, the last week. Yeah. So what did June Lynn say? It's tough when all your classes only have projects and essays instead of final exams. You end up overloaded the week before finals. Yeah, yeah. I've actually let me. So everybody got that? 10, 11, and 12. You can submit that homework. And Walter, let's just like change the due dates to what's the official last day of finals? I know that number is not in my head.
It's like the 6th, maybe.
No, it can't be because grades are due the 4th.
Oh, the 3rd.
Wait, how
then.
is that possible? I'm saying May 3rd through 6th is finals week. That cannot be true. Crap. I'm probably juking everybody on that. In the schedule, it says 3 through 6. That cannot be right.
Finals is the first week of May, and then my
Yeah.
last finals due the 5th, so it has to be after that grades are due.
Wow, really? Why did I have May 4th in my head? Maybe because I'm a doofus.
May the
Whoever
4th be with you.
that maybe. Okay, no, I might be like a solid doof. Hold tight. I mean, I am a solid doof. I'm just saying that the empirical evidence is rising. Okay. Okay, now I'm looking at here. Let me drop this over because we got to figure this out. Okay, this is where I'm at right here. Okay, yeah, it's not May 4th. Man, well, I don't know what I was doing. It's you know how rough this
I'm sure you
semester.
have other things in your life going on. We don't blame
Oh
you.
yeah,
It's
well, like
also that time of the semester where you just forget
well,
everything.
no, I'm sure I was doing all that. Also, back pain is the biggest thing I've had going on in my life this semester.
Well, that's huge. So
That's been a crazy thing, but okay, so yeah, at least I'm correct on April 28th. That'd be hilarious if it's like, oh no, Dr. K, you got another week of lectures because I was gonna go celebrate like tonight. Um, Prep day the 29th. Finals are April 30th to May 6th. Okay, wow. I'm seriously, that's spectacular failage right there, man. That is, I'm making notes here. April 30th through May 6th. So it also has no bearing at all on, well, it's 50% bearing on what, say, Walter, would you mind cleaning up that schedule for me? Just throw me a bone here and do a little repair work. April 30th through May 6th. So when are my grades due? I got to figure that part out. Okay. Okay, that's freaking hilarious. I may have actually done
well,
all that. No,
at least grades aren't due sooner than you thought, because then
no.
you'd be like, well, shoot.
Well, yeah, but when the grades are due earlier than I thought, then at least everything's over, and I gotta get through it and be done. You know what I mean? So,
What
Come on, look at the
schedule do
bright
you want
side,
me to
Dr.
clean
K.
up?
oh,
Sorry.
sorry. No,
You guys
Walter,
sure?
the finals week dates of May 3rd through the 6th.
I'll
That's
change it to April 30th.
Yeah. Well, yeah, make it April 30th to May 6th, and then the deadlines for modules 10, 11, 12. If those can be due May 6th, basically.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but if you're cranking down the stretch on that, okay. I seriously, I'm like, it's really funny. I'm not embarrassed because I know that you guys aren't like shaming me, and I don't shame real well anyway, but I'm just I'm just actually amused by that level of fail. You know what I mean? That's pretty stunning fail. Um, I, I'm going to blame it on powerful narcotics that were part of my life from the first week of Feb through that. I'm going prescription narcotics. That's what I'm going to blame it on. Okay, then I'll have to figure out when my grades are due. Wow. Okay. I literally have a note to myself right there. UVU grades due May 4th. It's like right there. Incredible. All right. Thanks for your patience. And anyway, can I just say you have been so patient with me. This has been the weirdest semester, and I've been teaching college, right, for a long time, off and on for a really long. 1987 was the first year that I taught a college course. I was 27. Off and on since then, and this is the weirdest semester for me ever in my life. Okay. But that's actually good, though. That's actually good. Okay, let me see. Walter, save me. Let's see. Save me from myself. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So project due Wednesday night. That is tomorrow night at midnight. Understand that I'm not going to look at them until the morning. Wink, wink. Okay, what else? Sorry, I'm just still freaked out by that. I don't know when my grades are due now.
Is it Twilight Zoney?
Oh, very much. Yes. I think it might be May 11th. I was off by a week. I think I might have been off by a week. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah, very Twilight Zone. Okay, let's talk about. So I think we got that. Oh yeah. Here, check it out. Check it out. I think. Yeah, just to confirm. It also tells you when you can look to try to get your grades. Spring 2021, do you see? And right there, final grades due from faculty May 11th. Available to you on the 13th, because they have to spend 48 hours apparently hand cranking a computer to process those grades. Okay, that's
It's
fantastic.
margin for error, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. All right, okay. All right, May 11th.
You spend
Grades
those
due.
2 days hand cranking that ball machine that you have upstairs.
That's it. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yes. Well, it takes like, no, there's
I
like,
just pictured Play-Doh.
there's like what?
I just pictured Play-Doh, like they're cranking this
They're
thing and the
cranking
Play-Doh's
the
coming out the
Play-Doh.
other side.
Oh, there you go. That's right. It's like pushing the Play-Doh out like a pasta machine. Also.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I
Or
got
in the
it.
barbershop one.
Oh, with the hair that comes out. Nice. Okay. Here we go. Now, any other wow, I'm seriously like mind equals blown, but again, it was the narcotics, I'm sure of it. Okay. Any other housekeeping about the semester? Things that are questions that keep coming up. I want to say one thing. When you get into the homeworks that have programming assignments in them, right? You have to write a program to do whatever, you have to actually write those programs. You can't just like, you know, vomit for 3 seconds onto a keyboard, assembly kind of pops out, and then you just pop that in there, and then you get the complete, and you get to go take the exam. You actually have to do what appears to be, an actual solution. Okay, and if you don't, then it's not complete. It's not. You're not going to get green light to take the module exam.
Have people done that?
Yeah. I mean, and they if they're here, they know who they are. I know who they are also.
Yeah,
But
like what happened was like I had submitted the homework and I didn't know if it like had to be graded first, and then I took the test. I didn't know that was a bad thing. I just figured because it
well,
was open.
if the test is available, I mean, that's not on you. If the test becomes available, you know what I mean? That's not
Yeah.
your fault.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, but when you submit that homework, you do have, and so we've done this with a number of students, right? So if you're in this category, please don't feel picked on. Doing this to everybody, that's just like, you have to answer, like homework 10, there's question 7. You have to answer homework, question 7. Sorry, you have to. And then if you don't, your call, but not going to mark it complete where you can take the exam. Okay. So just understand that, okay, that's a thing. And that shows up. Let me see. Reading. Let me see. Emily, will we have infinite retakes? No, you get one take. So if those have been done now, if you get those done now, you can take that. Let me see. How does that work? When finals week starts. So we'll do a reset. So you can take it between now and what, 48 hours from now? Till the 20, that's 72 hours. Today's the 27th. Yeah. You can take, like, if you've submitted the homework for 10, 11, and 12, you can take that exam. But when finals week officially starts on April 30th, we'll reset everything the morning of April 30th. So everybody gets, for any homework that's been submitted, obviously exception 10, 11, and 12. But at that moment, any homework that's been submitted is game. And you can literally take it on Thursday and then take it again on Friday. Because that's the same way you used to, during the semester, you could take it on Sunday and then take it again on Monday morning. Same idea, but it'll reset. So we're in the last week of the class semester right now, and then it'll reset on. Is that Friday? Is April 30th is Friday? It'll reset on Friday morning, so everybody
I have
can.
a question,
Yo,
Dr. K.
Eddie.
I am wondering, so I know it's finals week, so it doesn't, words
Spit it out. Spit
and
it out,
thinking.
Eddie.
Okay, it's coming, I promise. Okay. Will we be able to ask for help on the exams beforehand, like to go over it again the week of finals? Because we've been able to do that throughout the semester,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Yeah, no, the way that works, basically, well, understand that Zach and Walter have classes that they also have to do their finals. So they sort of, like, from an official perspective, kind of drop off the TA hours because they're students and they've still got to do stuff.
Right.
I will try to be Mondo available, kind of 24/7. By the way, did you notice? Okay, about a week ago, I got to the point where I could sit in this office chair for like 8 or 10 hours without like excruciating pain. That was only about a week ago. And then I had this other project thing I had to get cranked that was kicking my ever loving trash on Sunday through Sunday. And then did you notice that suddenly it was like Dr. K in the house? This is how I always did it. And this semester has been so weird. But so Dr. K is in the house now. And so when we get to finals week, and you'll see me, answering questions at 1 a.m. or whatever, doing my duty, but I'll be around and I'll try to be as responsive as I can be, giving as much room to Walter and Zach, you know what I mean, to do well in their classes that they need to focus on for finals as well. Okay, but that's the long answer, Eddie. The short answer is yes, but it'll mostly be me.
Oh, darn it. I was so hoping it
Sorry.
wasn't going to be. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I know, but we'll, you'll just have to do your best. The other thing you can do, and I've seen a lot of it, and it always, like, really truly warmed my heart. I mean that, like, I know that's always like a weird cliche expression. Really warms my little heart, but it does warm my little heart when I would see people drop questions in the general questions, and then other students would be jumping in to say, "Yeah, let me teach you, basically remind you about that," or you know what I mean. As long as we're not just like lobbing answers so they can whatever check the box but not know anything, that's not helpful. But man, helping each other out, I love it. I really, really love that kind of collaboration. The other thing that when you're doing that, though, you'll notice, some of you have been on chats with me, that I really have a hard time when someone's like, I can't figure out what this one piece of code does, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, it generates a Fibonacci series. I'm using that as an example because nothing in there is doing Fibonacci. But I'm just saying, that's not what I'm going to do, because I want to understand what skills do you possess. Because if it's a little bit like take this fish and look at it, but if you don't possess the skills right now to look at that thing and to walk through it and put it in the simulator and do things, and figure out what the answer to the question is, I'm going to ask you questions. And some of you, I hope, maybe some of you might even have been annoyed by this. I'm going to try to take you back to what I can tell you actually know, then build back from that. Because it's that knowledge that I want you to come away with, not just the answer, right? So it's like, give a man an instruction, as the old expression goes, feed him for a day, give him the instruction set documentation for the LC3, feed him for a lifetime, you know. So you know what I mean? It's the whole am I giving you a fish or am I teaching you how to fish? I need to teach you how to fish. And if you already and I can look in a lot of these situations, and if you knew how to fish, you wouldn't be asking me that question. So I'm gonna peel it back to try to help you learn how to fish if you don't already know. Okay? So
It's like the
that's why I
difference
do it.
between how do I fish and what kind of bait is best for this kind of fish.
That's right. Yeah, also, I think that's exactly right. And asking a question like, here's all the things I know, and I've tried this and this and this and this, but is there something I'm missing in terms of bait selection? That's a great question that isn't like wah wah, wah wah change my diaper. Right? Those are the ones that I, you know, uh not impressed by. You know what I mean? The sort of the helplessness, the kind of learned helplessness, like you've got to acquire the skills in your career, educational as well as professional career later, of figuring crap out yourself. Because man, you get that engineering position, software developer somewhere, if you have to ask, somebody every day, you're going to make everybody crazy. And so you've got to be able to figure stuff out yourself. And so that internal skill set of figuring stuff out is really, really important. And so I will tend to be a little bit strong in that respect. I'd rather have you have the revelation and the discovery moment than for me to just tell you what the answer is. You can go, oh yeah, I see that works, but that still doesn't mean you could have generated it or that you acquired any of the skills that lead you to generate it. Does that make sense? So that's why I do it that way. But I have to just say that starting when did I jump on? Sunday night probably, but certainly Monday. I guess that was just yesterday. I was really happy to be back online and talking to students. And the driving factor was the ability for my body to just sit in a bloody chair, not a bloody chair, but a frickin' chair, without just
I'm glad it wasn't bloody.
it was not bloody. Okay. Are there any other things we've got some time still? Are there any other housekeeping things? And Walter, if you can think of any, of the kind of the housekeeping things that like we really ought to say to everybody. Um, let me say this as well. We get a lot of questions, and again, it's probably like preaching to the choir, and the people who really need to hear what I'm about to say aren't here. But we do get questions that often sound like the individual is basically trying to do this class without exposing themselves to any of the lectures or any of the reading material or any of the slides, all of which is available. And just by like figuring out the homework and having that be their focus, we get a decent cross, not the majority, but a cross section of questions that feel like it's so clueless, like you just came in off the street as a German major and just decided to try to write that program on module 10. You know, and again, I think that the folks that really need to hear that aren't here by definition. So I don't know, but that's just kind of a little bit exasperating, you know, to me. So we will, where I've explicitly dealt with something and the question seems to manifest a complete ignorance about even the notion of what that thing is, I'm going to send you back to the lectures. So I'm not trying to be pissy or snarky. It's just, it's not fair to me or Walter or Zach for somebody to come rolling in who hasn't bothered to watch the lectures or study the material to come in and say, teach me all that material again from scratch that I didn't bother to take care of myself first. You know, so I would rather have a question that says, here's what you said in lecture. I don't understand. I still don't get that one part. That to me is a great question. I don't know what a stack is not a good question. Okay. Go back to lecture. You know, I don't know what a state machine is a really bad question. Okay. If you've been here and awake, you know what a state machine is. Just saying. So, you know, do your part. That's only fair. And we're not gonna private tutor lecture material that's sitting out on YouTube. But we want to clarify where there's, you know, things that you don't understand, whatever. I hope that makes sense. No, Josh, I didn't say you would get in trouble. That's no. Well, actually, Josh, it depends on the question. It depends on the question, and you're not going to get in trouble anyway, right? Right? Because there are really bad questions, and there are, like, if you ask me, Josh, I don't understand what ASCII is. You're not in trouble, but I'm just going to send you back to the lectures. You're not in trouble. You're just not going to acquire any more of my time. Does that make sense, Josh? You know, so if you ask, so you know what I mean? Your question is like it's so broad that it doesn't hardly have meaning. There are great questions you can ask about question 7 on module 10. And by the way, if you can't figure out question 7 on module 10, you can't do the final project, because that's a subset of the final project. So there are great questions and there are crappy questions, and you're never in trouble, but one of those might keep me talking to you, and one of those might truncate our conversation. If you ask what's 2's complement, right, Alex, then I'd be like, so what did you say your major was? German? Anyway, that's it. Okay, sorry, Josh. You kind of like you kind of triggered me there just a little bit. Like, so if we ask a question about that, are we in trouble? It's like, come on, man, finesse it.
It's all about intent.
It's I think it's part of it. Anyway,
because it's like, if you're intending on getting it a quick answer, then you're probably not gonna get that.
And
so
hey,
you should probably.
And Josh, no need to apologize, and you're not in trouble. I'm really serious.
Dr. Kate, you made him feel bad.
I know.
God.
I'm sorry, Josh. I didn't. That was generic. It wasn't for you, Josh. I'm really, honestly, I just want to reinforce it because the question did kind of make me just go, come on, man. But no, don't apologize. Please don't apologize, Josh. Okay. I'm not trying to embarrass you or you know, be overly harsh. Oh man. Okay, what else you got? What else is like whooping the trash? By the way, I did get on the LC3 simulator in class a couple times, did some stuff. We did CN, we did out, right? We walked through that stuff. There are some videos where I went through the LC3. There's also more detailed videos about the LC3 from last semester, also still on YouTube. and you've got to get your hands on the LC3 simulator. Okay.
Did you say that you had a video on that you posted about how to use it? Because I know that I mean
Well, I know we did it.
how to use it, but I think you said that.
Yeah, I know we did it in class. I know that we did some this semester. But I think that there is also here's what I guess I'm trying to get at. It really comes down to great questions are questions where you own responsibility. You know what I mean? And lousy questions are questions where you don't own accountability. That's probably not a bad thing. I'm actually looking back, and maybe I can drop a link for
Well,
when.
I mean, we don't have to do it right now. We can move
Yeah,
on
yeah,
to other things. But
yeah.
I was just wondering because I was watching one of the older lectures and it had mentioned maybe making a separate video. But I'm not going to hold you to it because I know that a lot of crap happened this semester.
Which
So
makes it. Yeah, yeah. Well, hang on a second. So I do have one from where I did a help section on December 7th last year. In fact, it's awesome because I was 3 weeks away from filming Sad Santa Diary. So I'm also like rocking the Santa beard pretty solid in this video. But if you just go look on the YouTube channel on December 7th,
cool.
I did a help section for the large project specifically. So that's just sitting there. And I think I probably did, if you look, go look, right? I think I did like another help section somewhere specifically about the LC3, just kind of like walking through stuff. So just go look. I mean, I've got lectures that go all the way back,
To
a
the end,
ways
to the beginning of time
to the
with
beginning of time.
dinosaurs.
Exactly. Dinosaur time. Goes back more than a year anyway. It goes back to spring break of last year when we went to online. Okay. All right. Any other questions? They could be policy, they could be specific. Oh, you know what? I did do, let me see. That was I did another large program help section. Go look, right? Go look. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna spoon feed this to you. There are a lot of resources sitting on my YouTube channel. Okay. All right. Okay. What else you got that's I mean, and if we're done, we can just done.
there's a question on the thing.
So
Derby asked her.
yeah, so you know where my YouTube channel is, right? Now I don't want to pick on Derby, but that feels a little bit helpless in a way that isn't really great. You know where my YouTube channel is, and you click on videos, and you just start looking for CS 2810, and you start looking for ones that say things like help section, large program. It's a finite search space. That's what I'm going to say. And if you don't believe me, talk to the baby. You want a diaper change? You got to talk to the baby. Okay. You want chicken? Talk to the colonel. That's all I got. Yeah. Anyway, but to me, again, I'm not trying to pick on you, Derby, but I am saying that's, Control F, and look for CS 2810. It is a finite search space. And I didn't know what I called them either, but I looked and it was like help section, large program. It's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, and the other problem, Derby, the best one might be not one that I find right here in the next couple minutes. And it really is, something you can find. But there's similar things like that. You know, we had one question. I don't. Again, I'm not trying to pick on whoever this was, but like I can't find the LC3 simulator. But you could also go to Google and type LC3 simulator, and it would be the top hit. You know, I mean, you've gotta get out of the mindset of being spoon-fed by professors that if there's something you're supposed to know, that a professor has to feed it to you. There's a part where you've got to become you know, internal combustion engine and feed your own process, you know?
Well, I think sometimes it's like, a lazy thing.
Could be.
Hey, the professor's gonna know. I could just ask him real quick and he can be like, oh, it's this. And then it's like, okay, cool. Whereas the other
Yeah.
way, it's like, that takes a lot of time, especially now we don't have a lot of time. And sometimes it's just easier to be like, hey, Dr. K, what's this? And then
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, it's this. And then, okay, cool. And that takes 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and also right. So, and I appreciate that, Derby. The search skills are part of the skill, honestly, right? Because when you're a professional engineer, there's going to be a lot of moments in which you're having to go look stuff up, find stuff, go out there, right? And that is one of the one of the requisite skills. Um, I just don't want to be like, okay, my job now to go package up all the tutorial action. Um, I mean, maybe eventually I will. I don't know, but anyway, I hope I'm not being overly I don't know, what am I being? Curt.
Picky.
I'm not trying to be curt. I'm not trying to be overly persnickety, but I've seen so much of kind of the diaper change thing and the looking to be spoon fed, and man, you've got to get those skills, you know. Let me move on. So Jake, is there a limit to how many lines per program? No, no. Um, no, there's no limit on how big it can be. There's no limit on how small it can be. There's a logical limit on how small it can actually be if you're doing it with states like we require. Jake said about 3/4 of the way through, I realized so many ways that I could have made my program better and shorter, but it would take forever to redo it, but all of it functional. You're good. You're good. The first time that I've written that thing like twice just to like try different things and whatever. Um, and man, the first time I did it, it was so butt ugly and longer than it needed to be. Then I did another approach where I was trying to make it really, really elegant, like really like block comments and a lot of white space for comments. And with the comments, it got over like 1,000 lines or 1,200 lines or whatever. And I think I just like quit on it, and decided it was going to be easier to go mod the assembler than to try to work around certain stupidities. So no, there's no style points. There really truly no style points on the code. Okay, I would recommend to you that you indent when everything's left justified. It is nearly impossible to debug because you've got labels and instructions all intermingled. So sometimes like that's a label and then that's the instruction over there. And sometimes it's the instruction right over here. And it becomes crazy. I really, really recommend that you use tabs and put labels on the left and all the instructions like uniformly at some indentation. Okay. And that you use white space and the little semicolons for comments to create separation so you can see and put little comments like state A, state AN, state AND, that kind of thing. So I really recommend that you do it in a way that fosters readability, because when you have a problem trying to read your own, butt ugly code, just about impossible. One of the things I
I've done
actually
that to programs where I didn't realize the importance of comments, and I just looked at it and said, "What is this?"
right, yeah, and you're like, I don't know why are we doing this? What is it trying to be, right? And your own code will do that to you because you'll look back at it and you wrote that earlier and 2 hours ago and you don't quite remember what you were thinking. But the other thing with block comments, you can scan your code quickly. Okay, there's the states, there's the thing, and I'm here instead of having to go through all the code and the cognitive burden is just way high when you do that, you know. Anyway, readability becomes it'll save your bacon over and over and over again. Oh yeah, branching instructions, getting out of range. So then but you can also do things like jump and ret, but then you still have to have those addresses like available to you that you can put into registers and things like that. So, there are some tricks you wind up having to play. Um, so, yeah, final project group therapy session can be really valuable. Let's see. Anything else?
Are you going to be just kind of like around today?
Yeah. I've got
I know
my
you
other
have
class. I got my other
Or-
class at 4:00. 4 to 5:15. But I'm gonna try to be around.
Okay, because I don't have questions right now, but I know I will later, and I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
wish I had them now, but
Also, let me just make one other reminder. General questions go in the text channel called general questions. Like, how do I do a this or a that? That goes in general questions. The DMQ is meant to be, hey, I need to do, can I get a TA, or I need to go over my exam. It's a queue, it's a line that you get into in order to DM me or Walter or Zach. Okay? It's not the actual Q&A place. Just as a reminder. I have on a couple of occasions just responded right there, but then I've just like, Matthew, that is an awful idea. The DM stack. Last one in is the first one out. Beautiful. Okay, just a
that would suck.
but just a reminder, okay, on the purpose of the DM queue, and throw the general questions into general questions, and we'll be looking there as well. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else kicking the trash? Policy crap. I have my dates correct now, so that's great.
About how late in the morning do you think you'll be checking on Thursday
I
for
don't know.
everybody's
I don't
project?
know. When it comes down to that, I'm not going to be like, weird and anal, okay?
I'm usually
you
up
I'm
at
know,
not saying
4:30 in the
I'm going
morning.
to turn it in late, but I'm just being
wait, what did you
curious.
say, Walter? Walter's up at freaking 2
I said
a.m.
I'm
I
up
don't
at
know.
like 4:30 in the morning, so
Well, if
That
you check it at 4:30 in the morning,
No, we're not checking.
I'm going to get it in at
It's when
12.
I check it. It's when I check it. And so what
but I
you
go
need to do.
alphabetically, so
But
No,
I'm at the beginning.
No, you need to
I'm the fifth letter.
you need to keep me up late the night before so that I'll be sleeping in the day, that next morning. No, anyway, no, it'll be
Challenge
honestly,
accepted.
look, everything's been so weird and everything. I'm trying to be as lenient as I can be, you know what I mean, without just blowing everything open, and which I think will be a lot of carnage in its own way. So I'm trying to be as generous as humanly possible with everything. So the truth is, if you're close or whatever, even, you know what I mean, just shoot me a message saying I almost got it, and I'm not gonna be like, sorry, sucks to be you right now. Sorry you didn't
I did that
sleep
with one
last
of my
night.
professors. I messaged him and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And then the next day I figured it out with a tutor and he's like, but I'm going to take 25 points off for it being late anyway. And I'm like,
And
you're such a jerk.
well, and here's the thing. If we weren't, at the tail end of, an entire school year, and then doubling back to halfway through the previous, this is 2.5 semesters of just COVID bullcrap. You know what I mean? And we're all just kind of fatigued. And then I had my own stupidity, which I don't think was great, in terms of the cumulative positive effect on the class with all of my stupid, wake up from back surgery, paralyzed in my right leg or whatever. It's just been a kind of a semester from hell for me. And I know that has left me less available than I'd want to be. You know what I mean? And we're all just fatigued from all this, 15 months or whatever of COVID crap. And so, you know what I mean? I just feel like under normal circumstances, it's like, no, look, that's the deadline. You gotta plan for that, or whatever. And maybe I'd be that guy, but not right now. I can't be that guy. But I am telling you that I'll be lenient on that, So
Well, I won't take advantage, but
yeah, don't get crazy about it. But anyway, are there any other I don't think there's any other policy type questions, or we would have heard them by now. So we could also go any other, I don't know, just naggy questions that are kicking your butt. Do a little bit of kind of group help section. We got 12 minutes or whatever. And we can also shut down and go back and, and if anybody needs to take off, you can take off, or I don't know. This is really kind of for you, I
got something to say real quick.
Yeah. Walter, who's that?
Just
Walter,
for everybody, all of the homework has been graded, marked complete or incomplete. Like Dr. K was saying earlier, with the whole, if you left off, especially some of the programs and some of the homework, it's been marked incomplete, so get that redone. All of the exams are graded except for the large programs, and I think I have 2 exam 10s left that I'm working on right now. So everything should be up to date. So you got time to retake anything. If you are asking to retake something in the DM queue, feel free to at me, Dr. K, Zach. If you only have like 2 hours to take something and we don't respond fairly quickly, like add us. Like I'll get the notification and we'll try to get it and we'll get it on there. That is all.
All right. Okay. How do you write a negative hex value? Josh, let me ask you this, and I wasn't sure. So amen, Emily, on the Walter appreciation post, okay? I feel like, anyway, Walter's been a just freaking boss. Okay, so one of the things that, if you look like in the documentation, you'll see something like, I'll type it in the chat thing, but like if you do like a dot fill, right? And you do a decimal value, like, the pound sign gives you a decimal, like, let's go like whatever, 75. Okay. Like that'll, if you can go to the simulator, right? And if you go dot fill, you can do this, -75, right? Everybody's got that. So Josh, and here's the thing, and I actually didn't know, just literally just now, if I did this, okay, do you see how those first two are decimal? Okay, in fact, I'm going to do this one more way. I'm trying to teach you how to fish, okay? Because you don't need to ask me. Literally, you don't need to ask that question. Okay? Here's dot fill. I'm going to do it right here. There's 75, and I'm calling that B. There's and by the way, this negative decimal, I've seen that in the documentation. And then I'm going to do a hex value of like 6B, okay? And I'm going to assemble this thing. I load it into the simulator, and notice there's decimal 75 hex 4B. I said decimal negative 75, right? It put that there, and there's the decimal hex 6B. Now, I actually did a little bit of research in the book to see how do you do the negative with the hex, okay? Now, following the pattern, what would you do, gentle friends? What would you try? Somebody? Anybody? What would you try? And what happened, Josh? You tried it. Well, so here's the thing, Josh. The program might not have worked, but that doesn't answer the question of whether the assembler took 6B, negated it, and put that value right there in your .fill statement, where that statement is. Your program may or may not work after that. But this is the part I was trying to explain earlier. You do one thing, okay? And that one thing is to take, in fact, we could validate it and go 6B, flip all the bits, add 1, right? Negate it. And I'm pretty confident we're going to get, FF95. Now, you see you got to separate the variables because my program doesn't work is like 10,000 different things that could be wrong. So Josh, when you did this and you go .fill x minus 6b, notice right there. When you did that, did it put the value FF95? This is the first test, not whether your program works, but whether that number is in that spot. So can you double check that, Josh? And then you're like, okay, I know that works. I know that .fill is work. Otherwise, if you did the .fill and I don't know what you mean again, Josh, by the program didn't work because it's just too vague a statement, right? It doesn't tell me anything. Yeah, you got to narrow the question. You've got to narrow and be as specific and explicit as you can be on the question. I'm just kind of waiting for a little more information and/or other questions. Let me see. Josh, I was trying to write x minus 30, in the program. I was wondering if I should change it to binary, then change it to negative, or just negate the hex. And it doesn't make full sense yet. I don't know what you're trying to do or what the context is. If it's part of a .fill and you want the negative version of hex 30, then you only have to do what I just did right there and go .fill x negative 30. And by the way, if anybody else has any questions, you want to jump in? Trying to figure it out by hand instead of the computer doing the work. Don't do that, Josh. Do it in the ELC. At this stage in the game, be in the simulator just like me. I didn't know. Now I know. I literally didn't know before you asked the question whether that would actually work. So it was like, but that's the pattern, so I'll try it. Boom, it worked. Now I know. If I've been doing everything, you know, on paper, I don't know anything because everything's guesswork. I might be right. I might be wrong. I don't know. That's right. And Matt's correct. You can do let's go dot fill. And so it's pound for decimal, X for hex, and B for binary. And I could go and let me just go. That should be FF00. Assemble it. Yeah, there it is. FF00. So and in the end, it doesn't matter. It just becomes bits, right, in memory, which can be viewed as hex. So seriously, Josh, you gotta be in the simulator. You have to go out of the domain of guesswork and into the domain of absolute knowledge. And the way you do the knowledge is what we just did. Now you know. Now you know what'd be interesting? Let me try this, and I don't know the answer. You ready for it? I'm gonna try it. I really don't know. I've never tried this before. Any guesses? I think it's gonna work.
I think it's gonna break.
Works.
Whoa.
Oh,
Okay,
ye of
that's cool.
little faith. That is very cool. But I didn't know that till I tried it. Anyway. And let me go. I'm going to just so I've got them both side by side. There we go. FF00. Flip all the bits and add 1 right there. Boom, negative. Wherever possible, let the machine do the work for you. Okay, what else you got? What else you got? We've only got a couple minutes, but I'll be around. I've got to do some crunchy stuff prior to my class at 4 that I've got to do like right now to be ready for that, after which I'll be available. And I'll try to get that done as quick as I can. Okay, mes amis.
I'll see you later, Dr. K, because I know I'll have a question.
All right, I will be around. Okay. Good luck, everybody. Buona fortuna. I'm
Thank
going
you
to
so
shut
much.
it all down. Yeah, you bet.